Hey everybody, welcome to Esports Go. I'm Justin Maestas. Thank you very much for watching. We've got your Overwatch League highlights from last night, and then we'll get you ready for Super Saturday with two huge matchups happening in the East. Let's get right to one of our key matchups from last night, Dallas Fuel and Los Angeles Valiant. The Fuel are looking to create a new identity in Stage 2 after a poor Stage 1, while the Valiant are looking to stay as one of the top teams in the league. We start on Hanamura. The Fuel are on attack first and aggressively push the Valiant off point A with some stellar dive from XQC. They take the point on their first attack, giving them lots of time to get point B. The Valiant's defense was up for the challenge though. They were firing on all cylinders as Soon lands a key pulse bomb to hamper the attack. Fate also ain't monkeying around. He chases around the Fuel and punches them off his point. It comes down to overtime, but the Fuel do not stand a chance against a well-oiled Valiant defense. LA gets the stop. The Fuel need a near flawless defense to take the map win. AKM is hunting for Soon's Tracer. He recalls though, and a giant monkey takes his place. Fate shoves AKM right off the point, and the Valiant claim it for themselves. On point B assault, Kariv stands on the high ground taking pot shots at the Fuel, while the Valiant takes keeps the defending team from reaching Kariv. The Valiant slowly creep the point past the Fuel's single tick. They take the point and map 1. They go on to win the next 2 maps, giving the Valiant enough to take a 3-1 victory over the Fuel. The storyline of tonight was A, the Valiant are still a winning team, but B, the Fuel still can't work together regardless of their lineup. Let's start with the Valiant as they're still a good team. They still need to prove they're a top tier team, however. Soon and Unko complement each other so well. They have no problem taking out the teams at the bottom of the standings, but when it comes to being the top teams, they still get flustered and still lose their focus. They prove once again they have the skill. Now they need to stay focused and get one map at a time and take down that top tier team. The Fuel are a different story. They're starting to get their act together, but their communication is still chaotic. They make no changes in tactics or approaches between maps. It's a bit frustrating. Whether it's XQC not getting the support or Effect being caught out, the Fuel need to work on their patience and their teamwork if they want to improve this season. Next up, we have a match between the two teams with something to prove. The Los Angeles Gladiators and the Seoul Dynasty both want to be noticed. Los Angeles want to prove they're much improved from last stage, and Seoul Dynasty are looking to prove their stumble at the end of Stage 1 is behind them. We head to Gibraltar. The Gladiators are down a map and need to win map 4 to bring it to a tiebreaker on Ilios. The Gladiators attack first. Shore 4 takes the high ground, taking shots at the Dynasty, hoping to get some key picks to push the payload past the first checkpoint. Miro is not afraid. Throughout the match, he jumps up and forces the Gladiators off the high ground. He always makes it out unscathed. Fissure tries to make a play on the Dynasty's back line, but Anna decides he needs to lie down for a bit. Zumba drops off a self-destruct. Now you see the Winston and now you don't. The Gladiators are never able to recover and fail to even make it past the first checkpoint. We talk a lot about a team needing a flawless defense here on Esports Go, but this time it's not an exaggeration. The Gladiators need to prevent the Dynasty from even getting past point 1. They started out rough, and unlike the Dynasty, the Gladiators are afraid of the Widowmaker on the high ground. Fleta keeps the Gladiators locked down to the side, while the rest of the Dynasty push the payload easily for the win. There is no map 5. The Dynasty have secured the 3-1 victory over the Gladiators. Make no mistake, the Gladiators challenged the Dynasty tonight. In the end, it just came down to the Dynasty having more playmakers than the Gladiators. In the Overwatch League, you cannot rely on just one man. The Gladiators need to work with Fissure and improve as a whole. The Dynasty are looking strong and are getting better. They have not yet played that heavy hitter in Stage 2, however, but their match against the Fusion will be their first real test of the stage. Now finally, we have a battle between the struggling Boston Uprising and the 1-11 Florida Mayhem. Boston have been swept in their first 3 matches this stage. I think everyone is shocked by that, and after they finished so strong after Stage 1. So could they find their form again, or will the Mayhem be able to end their losing streak? Let's start in the land of giant robots, Vizcaya Industries. Note leads the attack for the Uprising. They continue to show why they are the kings of dive. They quickly push the Mayhem back and take point A. They take this momentum all the way to point B as well. Dreamcasper takes shots at the Mayhem's back line from long range, while the rest of the Uprising keep the Mayhem pushed back. They take point B with ease. The Mayhem's assault is not great. The Uprising keep making key plays to defend the point. Note keeps the front line out on Diva. Striker makes plays on the Mayhem's back line. They are never able to get a good assault on point A. Overtime ticks down and the Uprising win map 1. They will go on to win the next 3 maps for the 4-0 sweep over the Mayhem. The Uprising had a monster game last night, but once again we ask the question, does it mean much? The Mayhem are still struggling. Don't get me wrong, the Mayhem are improving, but they are just not there yet. The Uprising finally got their first win in Stage 2 and look to continue it against the Dragons next week. If they can win that game, then a big match against the London Spitfire could put their season back on track. Now let's take a look at the heroes and zeros on the day. My pick for a hero was an obvious one. You can hear his name resonate through the crowd last night. I'm of course talking about Soon of the LA Valiant. Soon went off against the field, especially on Nepal, where he nearly took out the entire team. His pulse bombs are always finding their targets and his patience is just insane. Now for my zero, and it has to be the Gladiators' attempt to stall the payloads. Reinhardt had a couple of homers against Lucio and Mercy. 3 strikes and you're out, Gladiators. Okay, let's take a quick break. Coming up, we're going to break down tonight's matchups in the Overwatch League. Stay with us here on Esports Go. Welcome back, it's the Go. Let's take a look at today's matchups in the Overwatch League. We start this afternoon off with a matchup between the 2 Titans, the Stage 1 champions London Spitfire versus the red-hot Philadelphia Fusion. The team of brotherly love has decimated their competition in Stage 2. They come off a 5-map series victory over the Outlaws. The Spitfire have had a very neutral start to Stage 2, however. They lost to the Outlaws but beat the XL. It's the battle between the old and the new. This will decide who the hottest team in the league is after Week 2. The first match might tell us who the top dog is, but here are 2 dogs looking to get into that dog fight. The Outlaws and the XL aren't going anywhere. They've both taken a loss this stage. The Outlaws to the Fusion and the XL to the Spitfire. They're both looking to remind people who they are. We didn't see Pine for the XL last match, and the fans are itching for a matchup between Pine and Jake versus the Lynxer. This should be a great matchup. Finally, we take a look at the matchup of 2 teams just out of excuses. The Dragons are taking on the Shock, and let's be honest, this may be the Dragons' best chance of winning a match at this stage. This is nothing against the Shock. They still could take this match easily if they don't make too many mistakes. The Dragons seem to always lose focus in the last 2 maps. We don't know if it's an endurance issue or just a lack of maturity, or maybe they're just not that great. Regardless, no excuses. If they end this stage without a win, then a complete overhaul of their roster might be necessary. Alright guys, enjoy the matches tonight, and while you're at it, don't forget to browse our website, challengemedia.tv, for all your gaming news. Of course, check us out and follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. We'll be here all weekend with your news and highlights. Thanks for watching Esports Go, and we'll see you next time.